Sing the next line, Tiff, if you can. Springtime.
It's a time for spring.
Nope.
Did I get it right?
What are you saying?
Y'all ready to just... hold up. Let me bring up
Y'all ready for this?
Na 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 na.
What are you doing, Matt? That was weird.
Shoving it through the mailbox, just like that fucking newspaper went through that huge mail slot because it was so big.
Is that what you're calling making love now?
Whatever gets John going.
Hey, am I your mail slot? All right, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
You too.
So fucking excited.
Every fucking time. Every goddamn time. Welcome, everybody, to the Slasher Smash podcast. I am John, and as always, I am joined with Matt and Tiffany.
Hey, it says on my cup.
Hey, look, it says Matt. Just in case he forgets who he is.
It's happened before.
At least every episode, one of us interrupts your beginning sequence.
I know, it's awesome. I'm so glad I picked you two to join me on this adventure.
God, you're stupid.
Just like your choices of terrible horror movies.
And breakfast cereal.
Choose them. The 12 worst Rotten Tomatoes scored horror movies is what was chosen.
Wow, Matt, you got completely ignored on that one.
That's fine.
Waffle Crisp is clearly the superior breakfast cereal, all right? And if they want to sponsor us, that'd be great. Matt will stop being an asshole.
Oh, fuck no. Jesus.
Not even for money, he will.
Really, if somebody wrote you a check for $10,000 and said all you got to do is say that Waffle Crisp tastes good on stream, you wouldn't do it?
I'd have to try Waffle Crisp.
You can't negotiate.
First.
It's either a yes
you
or
can't,
no.
You haven't even eaten it and you're telling me how fucking bad it is? You're an asshole. This podcast is off the rails and you're a jerk.
I don't know what you want me to say on this, because on one hand, it's like, okay, obvious fact number one, mental illness is a serious problem that may cause hallucinations. Okay, great. Awesome. Thanks for taking a whole fucking hour and a half to tell us that. And then movie obvious fact number two. Okay, the world is ran by soulless fucking creatures that own all the money and people turn into them. Yeah, we know this already. This is obvious facts.
Which movie were you referencing?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, pay attention, you fuck.
Which one do you want to start with?
You've got them on your computer. Pick.
Yeah.
Well, I got The Haunting of Molly Hartley up first, so I'll read the
go.
description of that one.
Okay.
Molly Hartley hopes that with her mother locked away in a mental ward, she can forget the violence of her family's past and start over. She has found a new life, a new school, and a new boyfriend. But when her secret past and haunting nightmares continue, Molly fears she has inherited her mother's psychosis.
I think that sounds a little bit more entertaining than the actual movie.
They didn't move that far away. Her mom was locked in the psych ward right outside the town that they were in. Why would you go further away?
I think it's because the dad was keeping her close.
I think it's because the dad's stupid.
The dad was hoping that she would get better because he kept saying, she could get out if she gets better. And she might get better. Like, I think part of him, he just didn't want to be far away from her.
The whole point is you're giving birth to this baby in a bathroom, and then some fucking religious woman shows up and says, I'll make sure that your child lives, but when she's 18, she's ours. Would you really make that deal knowing eventually that you have to stop her before she turns 18?
I think because of the human emotions that we get irrational with, because remember, she had stated she had many miscarriages before that. One miscarriage to a woman is a great deal of mental pain. Multiple miscarriages, I think, is why she was so quick and apt to say, yes, please save my baby. If you can save my baby, save him. Please. And then stupid. After you make that decision, as that child starts growing up, either you put yourself in a denial state until the fact comes that it's almost her 18th birthday, or you just literally say, she'll be fine. But I don't understand how the curse actually works. Like, I don't know, it's weird. They really put mental illness and then said, we're gonna throw some supernatural shit on there too.
That's where they didn't really dive into anything. They didn't say there was a ritual performed. They just said, she said, I can save your baby, but we get it at 18. And they're like, okay. And that was it. There wasn't proof that any of this was ever really going to happen either.
The answer is, John, is that no parent would ever make that fucking deal. And I'll tell you why. Because they'd ask for fucking more. If I was going to make that deal, I would be getting $1 billion up front and sitting in a lap of luxury.
I would disagree with that because, again, I think it's the traumatic experience, the adrenaline, everything that is just happening and crumbling and falling apart at the current moment in time. And that was them grasping at the straw to try to save their child because they couldn't go through another loss of a child. So I really do think the irrationality, yes. Is it, again, if it was a rational thought, no, I do think that there are parents out there that would say, I'm not going to have 18 years with my child and then you take them away for the rest of it. Like, I believe you are right in a rational situation. But we're humans, we're irrational, we're very emotional.
If ever I found that Rumpelstiltskin guy, I know exactly what the fuck I'm going to do.
We're not talking about Rumpelstiltskin. We're talking about demons.
I mean, pretty much the same fucking thing, right? I mean, really?
But Rumpelstiltskin is out for himself. That demon
and the demon's
is just...
hearts?
Well, no, but it's different. Rumpelstiltskin would skin a fucking demon if he could, okay? That's what I'm saying.
Would he?
Like, I think you would bargain with him, to be honest.
Yeah,
but for his bargaining, but I don't think he'd skin him.
Have you ever seen Once Upon a Time?
He had a girlfriend that followed him around for fucking every season.
Belle! But she is also the one who liked bestiality, so let's really take that into consideration.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That'd be a little bit more interesting than these fucking movies. So let's just talk about that and fucking shitty Waffle Crisp.
The Haunting of Molly Hartley. Whoa. That is what we're talking about.
You bite your tongue, sir. They're going to sponsor us. This movie was paced horribly. It was all the same jump scares fucking over and over again. Yeah, there was only one. There was only the one jump scare that got me, and it was that first. That was a decent one. That was a halfway decent one. Yeah, that was the only one. Out of every other jump scare, it was like, oh, here it comes. And then even if we were wrong and it came up at a different spot, it wasn't as intense, and it was like, oh, well, that fucking sucks.
I was hoping that Waffle Crisp was owned by Kellogg, and I could say you're a fucking terrible person for liking it. But no, it's owned by Post. Also, I buy the generic shit. The recording for this episode is actually like an hour long, but it's only going to be about a 10-minute video because of our off-trailing fucking rants that had to get cut out. I'm going to edit the shit out of this so it's Matt saying, I love Waffle Crisp. Your hair tip, by the way, looks awesome. Honestly, it looks really good. You look like an old bitch. You do look like a bitch, but I wouldn't say old. I don't need the gray hair to look like a bitch, jackass. Can we focus on the fucking movie? Jesus. Why? Tell me why. Give me one fucking reason to focus on any of these movies. Tell me why. Alright, I will ask you, what would have made this movie better? An actual solid plot. No, Keanu Reeves. The one thing that I will give this movie is I had no idea where the ending was going. Yes. I had absolutely no idea. Once they got into the big mansion, I was like, okay, cult. They kept you guessing as to how it was going to turn out. Like, for everybody she came across, all three of us were different people. Like, don't trust that bitch. Don't trust that guy. Yeah. And that works very well when you have something leading to something very awesome, like Until Dawn. Just case in point. You had no idea where that was going. This went to a very, very stupid place. A very stupid place. Could they have, like, as she was giving her monologue, given, like, we're a cult of blah, blah, blah that's been through the ages, or demons? Nope, you got no idea. They really... We're the cultivator of the Antichrist. Anything? You could have gave us anything about what your little group is? Yeah, no, literally, it was just the fact of a demon basically came and told them a deal, and they got the girl, and that was it. This movie was a real fucking stinker. It started weird and unnecessary with that dad killing his daughter when he could have just did it. He could have literally did it at his house. They were driving back. He could have just drove back to the house and said, all right, honey, head inside, and just plunged a fucking knife into her back while she was walking in. Just shot her. Super easy. Could have just shot her. Anything except for trying to crash your truck into fucking oncoming traffic to get randomly hit by a truck on a farm
And which still didn't do the job, so you grab a piece of fucking glass from the window and I guess I'll stab my daughter.
This is literally the first, 10 minutes of the film that these two are most upset about.
I mean, as the killer, Hunter, shooting something is a lot easier and a lot less painful.
We got a brief second of truth from Matt. A brief second. Yeah, I don't, this whispering fucking voices isn't scary. I'm sorry, you can push that for the first 53 minutes of the fucking film, but it's just not scary.
Alright, let's move on to the other fucking movie, at least.
Yeah. Alright, so we're moving on to the disappointments room.
Yeah.
Dana, her husband David, who's a little bitch.
He is a little bitch.
Their 5-year-old son Lucas start a new life after moving from the hustle and bustle of Brooklyn, New York, to a stately old manor in the quiet countryside. I feel like this movie had a fuck ton of promise to be a really good movie.
It did. I was actually happy with this movie, and then up until the ending, I was like, what?
Matt, I'm curious as to your thoughts on this movie.
I said it the best at the end of it. It was like, well, that was a thing. It just didn't do anything, though. Like, it stayed in that one level, and there it was. Like, you could have watched halfway through and been like, yep, that's the whole movie.
There was no resolution.
They moved out to this manor from the city, which they're like, there's no way this kid could have a normal life in the city, which I don't really fully understand that concept.
Yeah, that therapist needs to go back for his license.
So she accidentally smothered her baby, and that's why they moved out there?
The trauma. I think it was the trauma.
Which is interesting, is it really touched base into trauma of real life fucking things when you talk about a disappointment room. And I'd never even heard of that. And then I look it up online, it's like, yeah, that was a real thing. Holy fuck, is that messed up. And then you talk about the suffocating of, a mother and a child. Yes, that shit does happen, and it's a terrible fucking thing.
Sometimes it's deliberate, and other times it is accidental.
Like, I don't know if that's what I want to see, because it is traumatizing, and even just seeing it in movie format, it's like, I don't know if I really want to be seeing that. But at the same point, it brings on a lot of emotion into the movie. It actually feeds into the movie, into some aspects. But it just didn't go anywhere.
It's literally set up almost episodic, where it's like the next episode is like, all right, here's the new location. Repeat!
The whole movie is like the husband and wife needed to communicate. They really needed to communicate, and she really needed to tell him, I'm not right in the head. I'm seeing a lot of fucked up shit that I'm not sure is there.
But he also needed to listen.
She kind of did. He played it off a lot.
He had a stereotypical character from Brooklyn, right? That's what he had.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. But there was a lot of instances where he understood what was going on and he acted accordingly.
At the end of the movie, BT.
Yeah. Okay, but also to try and the whole gone for hours on end when she was freaking out, he's thinking about also there's a child in the room or close to, and he's trying to calm her down and make sure that the child is safe on all this. He turned out to be a lot less of a douche and more of a concerned father with the history of being a guy from Brooklyn.
He was good at being a father, but less so at being a husband. Is really what it came down to, because in front of Lucas, I think he did good. He was trying to calm the situation, not freak everybody out, but when he was alone with his wife, it'll be fine. This is all good for us. We said we were going to do that. Like, no, that's fine. You made an agreement, but you just saw what happened. You're seeing the look on your fucking wife's face right now. She is terrified. How about you not brush that off and just try to be like, tell me what happened. I want to know what happened. Even if inside your brain you're like, you're fucking crazy. There's nothing happening. There's nothing here.
I would point out, though, and I don't disagree.
Matt
I think that's important.
With me.
No, I do not. I do not. I think that's important for anybody who's struggling through mental health to actually really have someone there to pay attention and listen to them. The problem is that in this instance, you have a financial situation that you have to consider. A, with the family moving to a whole new mansion that fucking they should have probably never bought in the first place. B, she might have had many episodes before this going from the city, too. This might not be a new thing.
That's my assumption, is that that's why they moved out, because the city was too loud, there was too busy, there was too many reminders of what happened, and that would make sense as to why they move out. But it's a thin line. It's a thin line between blowing it off because it's happened so many times and nothing ever happened, and then all of a sudden something really is happening. Like, there's a
Well, I want to point out it was not blown off. How much did they spend in that house? How much time? When you think of the length of the movie, how much time they actually spend in there?
There was no concept of time.
Not much. I don't think that there could be much, because you never saw her go to her job. You never saw the kid start the schooling there, right? So, I mean,
I think this is only a couple weeks max.
I think so, too. A couple weeks max.
Remember, he left for two days for his trip.
Which he should have took her with to get her out of that house.
But obviously, he deemed that it was not a serious incident, and I don't think that he went for... He might have had to finalize some selling of his company or whatever, but he primarily went there to speak to the shrink.
Because, again, that makes sense, because it's... Not only is it hard to go through the unstableness of your mentality when you have trauma like that, but then now you have to look at it from someone who is traumatized, because, again, they both lost their kid, not different perspectives here. But it's difficult to deal with said person who is going through that trauma and doing all this over and over again. I get it. I'm not saying that it's not a difficult thing. I'm glad he went to the therapist to say, this happened. Help me!
If you take in some realistic formats on this and what he did, he actually approached the situation quite rationally. Especially when you consider the length of time that they were at that house. I mean, I'm not going to just drop everything of our financials just to say we're done with this place right away based on nothing, really, other than her mental illness.
The one thing I don't fully understand about this movie is like basically what happens with unchecked mental illness.
Correct.
Where she dumped her pills, she stopped taking them, wasn't seeing a psychiatrist, and just let it go, and it obviously got way out of hand. So it made it seem like she kind of filled in the blanks of the ghosts and what she saw and everything, but it was actual shit that happened? So was she seeing ghosts, or was it just one full, vivid dream that she made up?
It depends on how you take it. You could take it as, like Jordy did, is that the supernatural clatches onto the weak-minded people or the minds who are traumatized and fucks with them. You could take it like that. Or you could take a broken mind that can't deal with the truth of what's been going on and deals with something else that is completely fabricated in their own mind, which is more likely, in my honest opinion.
I think it goes hand in hand. I think the big chunk of this is that the traumatic event that happened of losing her child, because accidents happen, was so traumatic that it broke her brain to the point of the hallucinations, seeing things, and then things becoming real to her. She even told her husband, I can't tell anymore what's real and what's not. But I do think it was, I don't want to say driven because the mental illness is driving all this, but I think it was pushed by some sort of spirit, or maybe not a vengeful spirit like the newspaper that had said. There has to be something with it, because when there's a word for what when Judith was looking through and it was like death, ghost vengeance, spirit, like all these news articles of people in that house dying, I think there has to be at least something that amped her mental illness. I really think they were trying to make it hand in hand.
And the creators of this movie obviously wanted it to be a debate movie between the people who look for logical explanation versus the spiritually inclined people. They wanted it to be a debate movie.
It's not even a good debate.
They
didn't give you an answer.
They never even gave you an answer. They didn't want you to. They just wanted to sit and bitch about it with your friends for God knows how long, until you finally realize that, well, it's at the end of the day, it's just a shitty, boring movie that took an hour and a half of our lives.
See, I didn't actually think it was boring. I was pretty intrigued.
I didn't say, I was intrigued. I shouldn't say it was boring, but it just didn't lead to anything.
But they made the dad out to be the vengeful spirit when wouldn't the child that he murdered be the vengeful spirit? The one that was locked in that fucking room?
That's what they don't clarify, is they make it out, yeah, they do, like John had mentioned, they make it out to be like the dad is the one that is being all this, like just hating.
Which would make more sense that this is hallucinations from her broken mind. And in reality, the victim would be a vengeful spirit if you believe in the supernatural, right? So...
Assuming that there's nothing else leading to that, because, I mean, again, you're also under the assumption that the father wasn't some weird, like, mass killer person, you know? Because, again, in the older days, the male's word was pretty much law, which I think why he is the one that said, I'm putting her out of her misery and beats her in with a fucking hammer. Because the dad is the head-all, lead-all thing at that time.
The point is don't hire the local drunk's son to do your fucking contracting with. That's the point of this whole fucking video.
Why was he in this movie? Why was Billy in this movie?
To smoke cigarettes.
Also, side note, who buys soft pack cigarettes? Somebody has to say it.
The first pack of cigarettes I bought when I told my dad that I smoked was a soft pack cigarettes.
There you go, everybody. Little Matt history.
There you go.
But Billy had no point in this entire fucking movie. Did he show up? Did he even show up to dig up that grave thing that she found?
That was all hallucination.
Yeah, that was. I think that was her. That was her hallucinating that she would have got him to go dig up the grave.
Do you think he ever even really existed?
He did exist, because he talked to the father.
Yeah, that too. But the candy store chick was like, yeah, he's a really good guy to have handy around town. Like,
there are some better questions to me. Number one, did the gravesite actually ever exist? That's number one. Did that ever exist? Because she's the only one that actually saw that, provided that Billy was hallucination.
Fair point.
Number two, what the fuck killed the cat? Or did it die? I assume it did, because you never saw it again.
Whatever growled in the bushes at the beginning?
Unless it was just one of those things where it's like, because they're out in the country, a fucking coyote got the cat. Like, a simple, not even, but her brain made it, like, because I'm pretty sure the cat's death was a representation of her imagining Lucas getting ripped apart by the dog.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like, even the minute items in this movie that are unanswered, they're unanswered for a reason. It is to literally debate and bitch about it afterwards. It is to make people bitch about this movie to their friends back and forth.
And since you're hearing us, obviously it's effective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think that there's any bitching. The bottom line is that you have two different paths that could be.
Yeah, and they really blurred those lines, which is, I guess, good.
It's not bad. It's just, again, neither one drew to a conclusion.
This was the top spinning at the end of Inception. You don't know what it means or what was real and what wasn't.
Dude, I still remember walking out of the theater after watching Inception. The amount of debates that took place afterwards was ridiculous.
That was fucking good. You can't.
It was awesome.
That's valid proof that you can leave it open at the ending and just be able to have debates, right?
Yes.
This is not a great example, although I would not say this was a bad movie.
I think it was entertaining to a point, but it never went anywhere, and I eventually just got bored.
All right. So do we have a vote?
John, what do you think? You always ask us. John, what's your vote?
Yeah, fuck you, John.
My vote for The Haunting of Molly Hartley was the worst out of these two.
Same.
Yay! I do too.
That's what you chose?
Yeah, because I would actually watch The Disappointments Room again.
The Disappointment at least intrigued me.
I would watch that again to try and focus on the mental aspect and see if maybe there's shit we missed. I mean, obviously, this is on the Rotten Tomatoes list of the worst horror movies for a reason. It just never really went anywhere. The concept of The Disappointments Room was really cool. I mean, not cool, but I never knew about it, and I learned about it, and it's really fucked up history.
Yep.
Plus, it featured a line that said, "People say I'm full of shit and whiskey," said by Judith, which is amazing.
Yep. That's me.
Nice and quotable.
So, I mean, that movie definitely had the promise, just not really the The landing. Didn't stick the landing, as they say.
The Haunting of Molly Hartley, you were terrible.
You really were terrible. I just wanted that movie to end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what we got next time? Next month?
Steven Dwarf movies?
I actually don't know what we have.
Well, if you don't know, what makes you think we're
Fucking, yeah, no kidding. You're the one that picked these movies. How are we gonna know?
We could have just graded them and had a, ranking.
Too late. We're already into the bracketeering.
It's a fucking bracket, Matt. We're having fun.
Oh.
And by we, he means John.
Next month, we have Homecoming, which from the picture, which is small, kind of looks like Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I don't know.
Versus Alone in the Dark, which does feature one of the most action-packed gunfight
Yes, it
scenes
does.
Oh my god, that's right.
movie.
Wait, next month we're repeating already? Holy shit!
Yeah, we're through the first round already.
Alone in the Dark, again, that just didn't know where the fuck to go. It had so many different fucking elements to it. I remember this shit. It was all over the place.
All right, we got our answer. We'll be back next month with the... God, I'm gonna replay that gunfight scene from Alone in the Dark.
That's all we're doing.
It's over and over. We might not even watch Homecoming.
Watch next month's episode. It's gonna be fucking short as shit.
And we're gonna have Waffle Crisp that I'm personally sending to Matt's house.
I'm gonna fucking pour it in the toilet.
Oh, wow. That's where you're going? I was expecting you to burn each individual one on camera in front of John.
Actually, pouring it in the toilet is the right way to eat it.
You're absolutely right, John. I believe you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching and listening. And, I don't know, go follow our social media shit or something.
Yeah, or go fuck yourself.
Every now and then. Yeah,
Famous last words.
maybe send us a couple bucks in the mail for wasting your life and our lives.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we appreciate
All right, everybody.
We appreciate donations.
We love them, especially. Just send... I'll give Matt's home address if you guys all just send him boxes of Waffle Crisp. He deserves it. All right, we love you guys. See you next episode.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. You fucks.
I wish we were a huge podcast and there'd be 4 pallets of Waffle Crisp in your driveway.
Oh my god. That would be amazing.
Until the next episode when Matt says, here's John's address. He really loves getting punched in the dick.
Why am I still recording? I'm stopping her.